Welcome back to the interview area at the 80th U.S. Women's Open presented by Ally. I'm joined by world number one, Nelly Korda. Nelly, you just got off the golf course, played 9 holes this morning. What's your reaction to the test out there?
Yeah, it's definitely going to test everyone's game, very demanding, so I'm excited to see how this week is going to play out.
What do you think is going to be sort of the characteristics that someone needs to tackle Erin Hills?
It's very demanding off the tee with all the bunkers. The bunkers are not easy. Sometimes you just don't even have a stance in them because they're so small. And then the shots into the greens and also the greens. So just an overall good test of your entire game.
We're going to open it up for questions. Amy on the left.
Nelly, how would you describe your preparations for this major championship compared to the Chevron?
I played the week before Chevron, so was a bit more in playing mode. Obviously had 2 weeks off after Mizuho, so maybe a little bit more rested, I would say. But other than that, I've been working pretty hard, so I'm excited to see how this golf course is going to test my game.
We'll go on the right, Gary.
Nelly, can I get your impressions of the 9th hole, which the par 3, which in some championships here has been one of the toughest holes on the course?
Yeah, it's a diabolical green for sure, especially if the wind gets up. It's going to be a very interesting test. I wonder how many groups are going to be on the tee box. But, that's the U.S. Open. It's supposed to test every part of your green. You're supposed to have holes like that, and it's a really cool hole because obviously on the green you look at it and you don't see how sloped the green is, and if you look at it just from the tee box, it's you see it's kind of like a shorter par 3, but it's very, very demanding in every aspect.
On the left, Sarah.
Nelly, obviously one of the longer LPGA Tour, but you probably put in a premium on accuracy as much as distance this week. Can you just speak to that and what it's going to take to keep the ball in the fairway out here?
Yeah, it's no matter how far you hit it. Sometimes actually on golf courses, the longer hitters have to actually thread it a little bit more than shorter hitters. So it doesn't matter really how far you hit it. It's all about accuracy at the end of the day, especially on a golf course like this.
Back right in the blue.
Nelly, I enjoyed your Instagram post the other day with the alligator on the course. There won't be any alligators out here, but the wind can be biting. So is it the type of situation where you got to play different shots, different thoughts on different holes because of the wind?
Yeah, I think weather plays a pretty big role out here, especially with kind of no coverage, no trees to kind of block it. It's kind of a very big open field. So when it gets windy out here, it's going to really play with your golf ball. So it's just kind of seeing what the day has in store and having a game plan for it.
Yeah, right down the center.
Nelly, late last year, Justin Thomas said that one of the hardest things in golf is to play when everyone knows that you're going to potentially contend and or win. Mm-hmm. Do you subscribe to that? Do you believe in that? Is that something you think about?
Not necessarily. I don't try and think about it. Definitely when you're a higher ranked player or you're popular, there's more pressure on you. I think from just outside perspective when it comes to media, fans coming out to watch you play. If you want to feel it, you will feel it. But I think what's really important is just kind of sticking to your game plan and being really focused on what you're doing at that present time. And that's really helped me.
Was that something that you had to develop over time? Was that a thought process that you started golf with or started professional golf with, or is that something you've worked on?
I think the more you're put in under pressure moments and the more you're in contention, you learn more about yourself and how to handle those situations. And, every year something's tested me, and every year I learn a little bit more about myself and how to handle myself in some situations. So, yeah, I think it's all about putting yourself into that position. But at the end of the day, you're the one that put yourself there, and you have to be grateful that you are in that spot, and you kind of have to just enjoy even the pressure.
Front right, Rob, and then if you pass it right behind you.
Now, what are the differences in preparation for a course like this, somewhat more modern versus some of the more classics you've been at for this event the last few years?
I prep the same way. I try to play for misses. I try to work my way around the greens and, try to figure out just lines off the tee. My preparation is very simple, and I do the same thing every single week.
Right here.
You had mentioned every year you learned something about yourself. What have you learned about yourself and your game so far this year, and just how do you feel about the way your year's gone up to this point?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting year for me. Definitely have had, a good bit of good and a bit of bad, kind of a mix in kind of every event that I've played in. So I would say just patience is what I've learned, and kind of going back home and really locking in and practicing hard.
On the left, Beth Ann, and then Jill.
Speaking of patience, I wanted to ask you what you've learned over the years about the role patience plays in this particular event.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, some weeks it's so much easier to be patient than others. It just depends on kind of the mindset and how you're feeling mentally, but it plays a really big role. I mean, sometimes you can get ahead of yourself, and as I've said in the past, like staying in the moment is really, really important for me. So patience is definitely a big word in big events.
The LPGA had some big news last week with the new commissioner. I'm wondering if you've had a chance to talk to Craig Kessler, and what are your impressions?
Yeah, I've briefly talked to Craig. I'm excited for the role that he's going to play and for the future of the LPGA. I think he's a great person. From the interactions that I've had with him, he has so much energy, so much positivity that I think it's going to be really good for the LPGA.
Did you give him any advice on what you'd like to see him do first?
I think we'll sit down and talk a few more times. I think I just met with him really briefly, but I think maybe at KPMG we'll see each other. I don't know. I think his first day is mid-July, so I'm sure that he has a lot on his plate right now, and we'll catch up.
Jill.
You've had 10 U.S. Open starts, and first of all, hard to
Jeez.
believe, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
second of all, your relationship with this major, and how you think, like, kind of the ups and downs in the tournaments that you played over the years.
Oh yeah, lots of ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest test in the game of golf. Definitely has tested me a lot, and I love it. At the end of the day, I mean, this is why we do what we do, is to play these golf courses in these conditions, to test our games in every aspect, not even just our games, our mental as well. So I enjoy it, and I'm excited to see what this week is going to bring.
Your play here can obviously affect Susan G. Komen and breast cancer research. You posted about that. Why is that important to you?
Yeah, any way that I can help out, raise awareness, and give back, I'm the first person to do that.
In the center, Stephen.
Nelly, is there a characteristic of this golf course that separates it from other major venues that you've participated in?
I mean, every major is unique in its own aspect. I mean, we played Pebble Beach, we played Lancaster last year. I mean, they're all just so different. So I think it just tests, at the end of the day, I mean, it just tests every part of your game.
On the left, Beth Ann, then Amy.
It's a long commute for most people. I'm curious if you're staying in the Milwaukee area. How do you balance your time this week with being way out here?
Yeah, I'm staying in a house probably like 15, 20 minutes away, so not that bad. But, I mean, it's so pretty. I'm staying on a lake, and it's a nice little getaway. And my parents came with me. Usually they get in on Wednesday, but they've been with me here all week, so it's been nice too.
And then this golf course will have 10 USGA championships by the year 2039. What is it about this venue that you think makes it worthy of such a full slate?
I just think it tests every part of your game. It's very demanding. It's firm, it's fast as well. So even if you think you've hit it good, you just can you can exhale when you see it stop. So I would say even the weather plays a big role with the shots out here, with the putts. So I think it's a great big hitters golf course, but it's just demanding in every aspect.
Stay on the left with Amy.
How would you assess the setup that you've seen so far from your practice rounds, and have you tried hitting from some of the different tee boxes?
Yeah, I've hit from every tee box, and I think it's fair. There's some par fives that are gettable. I mean, there's some par fives that have 2 tee boxes. Some par threes have 2 tee boxes. So I think that they have a lot of options depending on weather as well, and I think it's just going to play fair.
And do you have a Lego project this week you're working on?
No Legos, just a book.
On the left, Sarah, front.
Obviously, you talked about wind, weather going to be a factor here. What's the key to your game when it is windy, when it is a little bit wet? What do you really lock in on and focus in on shot shapes and that kind of
Ball flight, starting target, just dial in on really small targets.
When you're looking at that ball flight, like, are you trying to go kind of lower, skiddier, run out, or what's the thought?
Yeah, I naturally already have a little bit of a lower ball flight. Like I tend to control a lot of my shots. You won't see me kind of rip a lot of my shots. So, a controlled driver too. I have that in my bag. So, a lot of like lower ball flighted shots that don't get affected by the wind too much.
Last question, we'll go back to the center, Nick.
Oh, what's the book?
It's the third series in the Powerless series. Yeah, third book in the Powerless series.
Have you read the first two then?
Yes, of course. I would not go straight to the third. No. Yes, I have.
All right, Nelly, thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you.